I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh my gosh, guys. Crazy drama tonight here on The Bachelor. Of course, we're talking about The Bachelor here on AfterBuzz TV. Tonight was season 10, episode 4? 5. Wow, this season's going fast.
Yeah.
I was not here last week, but I'm so glad to be back. The ladies did hold it down last week, though.
Yeah.
I hate missing the show, but I kind of enjoy getting to be a fan whenever I miss it. And you guys really did a great job covering the show last week. Quickly, guys, my name is Jeff Graham. This is The Bachelor After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. We're your weekly recap for The Bachelor, and humbly, I would say we're the best as well. Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was a crazy episode tonight. We'll be getting into it. First, let's introduce ourselves. Immediately to my left is, I call her our Bachelor insider, Christine Alexis.
What's up, everybody?
So good to see ya. Continually down the panel, we have our reality TV insider, Rachel Swindler.
What's up, guys?
And finally, our reality TV horror, Michael Thieling.
Wow! I'll take it. That's
just
a lot of
joking.
right
No.
there. No. I mean, Christine and I just did, what is it called? Love is Blind. Yes, although that's not out yet. We got some screeners, but wow.
The thing that I love is Mike Thieling manages to bring this elevated intellectualism to reality, which I love.
Oh my god.
Somehow, you make me feel okay for the shows I like because you make them seem so smart.
Oh,
so I'm
yeah.
gonna give that to
they
Michael
are.
Thieling.
This is deep.
They are. Well, especially tonight's episode, I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
I think we're getting a lot more shades of gray than we usually do on this show. We're not only going to be covering the episode, we also do have some tweeting for the right reasons. And during the episode, some crazy news dropped.
We gotta talk about it.
There was a wild tweet from Cosmopolitan that we'll be going over later in the show. We've got a lot to cover in 30 minutes, so we're going to get started right now.
Yeah.
Before we dive into our stuff, I'd love to hear what you all thought. And I want to start with Rachel Swindler. What was your overall thoughts on tonight's episode?
I was just so happy we were in Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Hola. No, it's continuously just getting better every single week. I feel like there's just so much drama, so much going on, and so much licking of the lips. So it was
Man.
And tongue flicking.
So much.
Anyways.
Mike, what'd you think?
Yeah, I've been gone for 2 weeks, but of course I've been watching at home. I was excited to come back and give my opinion on what I missed, but there's no time.
I know.
There's just
I
so
wish
much
we
to
had
talk about.
time.
I loved it. I was worried about a 3-hour episode, but it was chock full. I'm pumped to talk about it with you guys.
Christine?
Same.
Yeah.
I was nervous as well, but I was completely engaged from start to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did mention last week. Quickly, I gotta say, I'm from Cleveland. I was
I know.
so bummed to
I'm
miss
sorry.
last week.
Oh,
The
gosh.
number of times I've been to Cedar Point.
Yeah.
I used to get season passes as a kid. If
Yeah.
ever there was an episode for me to be in, it was that one. Sorry I had to miss,
come
but
on.
I know.
that's okay.
You ever
know,
run into your ex-girlfriend performing on stage?
many times.
Oh my
That's
God.
what happens at Cedar Point. That's what
I know,
happens there.
that's what it's known for.
That's what it's known
funny.
for.
Tonight's episode, like I said, I thought it was really kind of compelling. I will say, I'm not sure I really love any of these girls, but from a TV show perspective, I can't believe how just drama-filled it is. Like, I did not see what was coming. The editors really did us dirty tonight in the best way.
Yeah.
They are playing with our emotions.
I know.
Like,
Yes.
you would not believe. Like, at this point, I feel like, just from judging from Twitter, Bachelor Nation is, like, collectively hate watching this season because these women are just making it so hard to root for one person for
know.
more than one episode.
Yeah.
Because 30 minutes later, you're like,
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Mine keeps changing. It's
Yeah.
changed almost every episode. I got a brand new one front runner for myself tonight.
yeah, this smashed my bracket. I'm like,
Yeah,
why?
it's just a roller coaster ride the entire time. I feel like I like somebody in the beginning of the episode and I hate them at the end of the episode. So
know.
yeah, it's just crazy.
Well, we're not going to go in order. I'm going to go by topic, and I'm going to start. We will start at the beginning. Allayah. So I will say, for people who are accusing Peter of being too wishy-washy and too easily manipulated, he did not look good tonight because he had a very confusing conversation where he said, I want you to know that I'm sorry I was so easily manipulated by the girls. But I think it's best you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did this make sense to you guys?
No.
Rach, go in.
No, it didn't make sense. And then, then we see Allayah crying and like, just saying, I know, I'm so sorry that I did this to you and all this stuff. I just felt like she was just letting him get away with this. And so I wanted to see more fight out of her. And yeah, it was cringy.
Yeah, something we noticed while watching is like Peter didn't even give her the opportunity to like kind of fight for herself to stay.
Yeah.
It was
I know.
like, well, you're going now. And
Yeah.
then we proceeded to get this really, what I thought was a very poised exit for Allayah, because she didn't fight back. She didn't, get super emotional. She was just like, seemed more heartbroken and kind of just took her exit. And I was like, man, for somebody who was so fired up the last few episodes and came back to fight for her spot in the house, she sure just went out swiftly.
I never understood the whole origins of this because Victoria P lied.
I know.
Like, we know she lied.
Yeah.
And that was part of the whole impetus of her getting kicked off, and it didn't make any sense because she didn't get to fight for herself. She didn't bring this back up like, hello, I'm telling the truth. Why am I getting, punished for this?
Like, are you sure Victoria P lied, or did she tell her truth, though?
She definitely lied. To me, again, I don't think I really commented on this because I haven't been here.
Right.
But it was a lie for no reason. There's been
weird.
plenty of people who've known each other. Stagecoach is infamous, right? Everybody knew each other. Okay, but there are people on Bachelor and Bachelorette who've come in. We knew each other. I mean, the Hannahs, right? We had a pageant together. It's happened before. What's the point?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everything is so messy. If ever the word messy applied to a TV show, this episode of the show, I think Alayah's subtitles while she was crying should have said, I just am excited to go to Sayulita next summer. And that's why I'm feeling okay. I don't know. I mean, Allayah was an interesting character. I definitely think tea will be spilled at the Women Tell All, especially with Allayah. So we'll have to see where that goes. We have a lot to cover, but anything else on Allayah before we move on to Sydney's one-on-one?
Well, because in that same breath, isn't Deandra sent home? We got a rose ceremony.
Oh,
at the top
thank
of
you.
the
We have to
episode.
talk about
We
that.
can't forget Deandra's just mouth open because
Jaw dropping.
that's pretty iconic.
She had a funny 30 minutes on this show where she was went in on Peter, and she's like, I mean, Peter, we have not gotten to get to know each other, acting as if she and Peter had built this strong foundation.
Right. Yeah.
And then it was
Pete's
great.
like, I know,
And
but it's cool.
Pete's like, yeah, we haven't gotten to know each other. I know. And then when she gets, the first thing she says when she gets eliminated, I'm shocked.
I'm shocked.
All of Bachelor Nation, we're not.
We're not.
Yeah, none of us are shocked.
Pretty girl really thinks
But she's
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Gosh, so beautiful.
yeah.
And Deandra, if you want to come on our after show, we would love to have you. Seriously.
Either Deandra or Savannah or Kiara, who also got sent home.
Oh, yeah.
In that same breath.
Anybody.
Kiara, if you want to
DM you.
lingerie on our after show, we'd love
Yes.
to have you. And yeah, Rachel will send you your
I'll
DMs.
send you a DM.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about Sydney's one-on-one. This is tricky because the dimensions of Sydney expanded greatly in this episode. We saw many sides of her. We're talking specifically about her on the one-on-one.
Right.
Okay.
Christine, Alexis, how did you feel about the chemistry between Peter and her on the one-on-one?
Oh my God, their chemistry was off the charts.
Yeah.
He flat out called her the best kisser in the house. They were sucking face.
Wait, say that again?
Sucking face.
The best kisser in the
Say it again?
Stop.
Oh yeah, she did. She wanted that.
Again, Peter.
They did. Yeah, she definitely started off with a really good edit. She opened up a lot more about her time in high school, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Just more about her upbringing, really kind of establishing this chip on her shoulder. It's kind of her MO at this point.
Yeah.
Explaining why she's so mysterious. And that seems to really resonate with Peter for whatever reason, and he seems to trust her more than ever after this interaction.
I thought that I agree with you. I mean, I think that they were talking too much about love instead of talking about why, getting to know each other, actually opening up to each other. I said, we're really, our flight's taking off. Our love is about to take off. And I'm like, can we get more of why your love's taking off? Because
Yeah.
I don't know why. And I don't think that she's going to last extremely long, because I feel like, as we've seen in past seasons, that the girls that aren't, or the guys that aren't opening up as much, are the ones that are going to be sent home. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to play that excuse.
I think she did give him enough right now,
right now.
to last a little bit longer, whereas he was very clearly demanding more from other people in this episode.
Yep.
But I agree with your point, though, that they are talking a lot about what happened before they crossed paths versus what they want their future to be together, how many kids they want.
Exactly.
He's already had that conversation
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Victoria F. You
a
know what
good
I mean?
point.
They haven't spoke a lot about what they see in each other long term as partners.
Exactly.
I think he's infatuated with her. She's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And they were kissing a lot. And
It was hot.
Pete is loving it. And I think in my gut, he is really attracted to her, really into her like that. I don't think she's really probably feeling him very much. That's just my gut.
Yeah.
That's the sense I get.
Yeah. I think she likes being liked.
Don't we all?
I think a lot of these girls.
It's interesting.
Maybe she likes winning this whole thing.
Yeah. This kind of opens up a can of worms, but Peter was saying, you seem very mysterious.
Right.
And I feel like that story, that narrative, feels much more complicated after we saw Sydney's behavior later in the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you're mysterious because you're
Man.
hiding something. And I'll go ahead and bring it up now.
Well, the chat sure is. So.
Yeah.
Do you want any reading these
Yeah,
shout-outs?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see. Hold on. It scrolled past me, but Sydney lied about her time in school. This is from Rena Senorita. So this is what you're going to talk about, right? So
Yes, yep.
She's bringing it up. Sydney lied about her time at school. Pictures floating around Twitter right now, which we might have even sent in,
did.
which totally contradicts what she said about eating lunch in the bathroom most of her high school. She's shown winning some kind of pageant thing or something like that. People calling Sydney is mysterious because she lies. She just wants to get verified on Instagram. Sorry, I can't read the names because it passed me up, but yeah.
It's confusing. Sydney's maybe we should just bring up Sydney's behavior later in the episode because it's tying in pretty. She got into it with Tammy.
Yes.
With
Yes.
Tammy.
Right?
Yeah,
There's
that's where her
so
beef was.
much drama. There's so much beef this season. It's hard to keep track of who's upset with who.
Right.
But there was a very interesting moment where it seemed like a flip switched in Sydney's brain.
Yeah.
Tammy accused her of something, which granted may have not been true, but we saw Sydney go off. She stood up, she started yelling, and respectfully, it kind of felt like a different reality show all of a sudden. We
See-
switched from ABC to VH1.
This is what I thought when she went off on Tammy. This was reminiscent and just to me one level higher of when she went off on Allayah. Because when she went off on Allayah, it
Yeah.
was almost this very passive aggressive, like, oh, really? And this is just
snaps.
one notch up that she actually snatched. So it's very different her alone with Peter and her with the other girls, where we see her doing the mean girls, starting to stir up trouble stuff.
She defends herself so like just in such an aggressive manner, and I hate to throw out that word, but it was very powerful. It's never in a calm, collected way. Like, I know I'm right. It's like, I'm right. You better shut the F up and don't repeat that again.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't want there to even be a whisper of her potentially doing the wrong thing. Like, she's right. Her intentions are right. It doesn't matter how anyone else perceives it. When she constantly like calls other people out for their truth and how they're acting, and I'm like,
And the thing she was defending was she's like, I don't talk about the other girls in front of Peter. Ugh. And
Right.
I oop. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
oop.
Sk and I oop. Is that right? Because she talked.
the best reading of that GIF I've ever heard.
That's good. Okay.
And that, ooh.
But the reason I'm ooping her is
Yeah.
because she outed Allayah. She's the one who at least stirred the pot from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So you're guilty. Sydney's guilty.
To me, I don't get why Peter constantly, he's like, I trust you. There's something about you. I'm like, why?
Because
I
she's
don't-
gorgeous.
But maybe, yeah. I mean, he's
mean-
just infatuated with her looks, and then, then she had to go off during it and go like, me. And like, when she did that during it, I was
It's gotta be
so
that.
Cringy behavior. It's just so.
It came off so mean girl. She started
Yeah.
acting like all the girls who she made out to be the people who bullied her in high
Exactly.
school. And it was like,
Exactly.
Right.
sis, like, there's one thing between like, learning how to defend yourself through going all that, and maybe you just have a little more of a tough exterior versus like belittling somebody and being so like directly mean.
Yes.
I wish she hadn't done any of that with Tammy in the third of the episode.
I know.
Because her one-on-one really elevated her in my eyes.
Yeah.
I kind of thought she was floating along a little bit before. I didn't like the passive aggressive stuff. And then the one-on-one, I said, wow, she's a real contender.
I know.
Looks like they're starting to build, but then she ruined it for me.
It's hard because Tammy's not innocent either.
I
I know we're
know.
gonna get
Yeah.
into that.
Tammy's
but-
against everybody in the house now. I
that's
don't know.
saying. It's
But
all-
we'll
we
get
got a lot
into
to
it.
say
We'll
about
get into
Tammy,
it.
but-
Let's go.
We got a lot to say about Tammy. We'll
I just have
get
to
to
say-
it.
Where's Jeff pulling this show next?
I know. We're going to come back to all the girl drama because there's more to unpack there. We're just kind of focusing on Sydney for now. But I actually want to move on to Kelly because
Yes.
Kelly seems like one of the few girls who's kind of staying out of it. There's a couple of them we'll talk about. Kelly and Peter had another culturally insensitive one-on-one. It's a staple of the show.
Questionable.
Yeah. This was whatever. I mean, it's so funny when they try to like take the time-honored traditions of a cultural like religion or whatever and like incorporate them into the show. Like they try to take these deep metaphors about candles and pendulums and talk about like a 5-week romantic journey. It cracks me up. But Mike, how did you feel overall about Kelly and Peter's dynamic during this date?
I loved it. Okay, so Kelly, to me, up until today, has been someone, as they went over and over again in the 101, kind of in the background, keeping to herself. But to me, on this 101, what I saw was her coming out a little bit, but I recognized what I think the truth is of her behavior before. It's someone who's mature and poised, actually ready for a relationship, and most importantly to me, especially this season, staying out of all the drama. Kelly, and that's what she was the one I was referring to in our introduction. She skyrocketed to me. And I think she's easily one of the best women here for Peter in this crop, especially after tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think that she's great for Peter, but I don't think that Peter's ready for a woman like her. She's
totally fair.
She is ready for a relationship more than Peter's ready for a relationship. I mean, and we
agree.
saw how awkward that was when he gave this whole speech to her, and then there was that awkward moment where he was expecting her to be a Hannah Ann or like a.
He was begging for validation from her.
Exactly,
He wants
wanted
a
that
yes girl.
validation because he knows that she's up here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it was just refreshing to me ahead of their date that she gave this really great quote in her ITM about like saying something like, I don't have a sob story to like tell Peter to make him like fall for me, I believe, or to understand her better. She's just trying to go into this. Like she said something like, he checks off a lot of boxes, but I don't know if this is going to be the real deal. And I was like, man, that is the most like refreshingly honest thing we've heard from a contestant in quite a while. And from what I saw on Twitter, people were feeling it too.
Well, Melanie in the chat is dead on. Peter was trying to come at Kelly. Why does this keep scrolling for me? Peter was trying to come at Kelly, and I was shocked. Then Kelly defends herself and calls him out. He clearly does not like sane, mature women. And that's kind of what we were talking about when we were watching the episode. They have this back and forth, and they were playing the ominous music in the background, and it was really like he was coming at her. But she isn't doing this stereotypical bachelor, bachelorette girl of just everything you say is amazing.
Right.
And she seems like a really real person. And
thoughtful.
for all the talk of I'm here for the right reasons, that's the kind of person you actually want, right? Someone who's real and is not putting up this odd front so that you'll keep her on for more weeks.
It was really interesting. I mean, Kelly in general speaks in a candid way that feels so strange for the show. They showed her doing a talking head. Like when they first landed in Costa Rica, all the girls were like, oh my gosh, Costa Rica. When they cut to her and she goes, I'm excited, but kind of tired from traveling. I'd love to spend time with Peter, but he's dating a bunch of women, so I'm just going to enjoy myself.
Yeah,
It was like
real.
this stark contrast where it's like, wait, why is this like mature lawyer talking?
right.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it's really interesting. And yeah, there's just a lot to unpack with the two of them. And there was also this really interesting conversation about getting like engaged. Like that was the term they used.
Yeah.
And what struck me was I was like, oh, that's because that's the basis for this show. They all get like engaged, right? Because they all know the Neil Lane ring is just like the Instagram ring. Like,
Right.
And so Peter's talking about getting real engaged, but Kelly knows that the end is like engaged. So she's trying to navigate the rules of the show, but what Peter's saying he wants. But he can see right through Peter when he's like, just trust this process. Trust me, I know it works. We're like, Peter, on your season, you not only got kicked off, but the winner chose someone who was dating someone else. Like the show doesn't always
it
work.
patently does not work.
Especially
like
in his
he
experience.
Says.
Yeah.
He lost. Right?
Yeah.
So it definitely does not work. You don't necessarily end up with the right person, as we have seen Hannah try to come back.
Yeah, he's drinking the Kool-Aid, which he has to do.
Of course.
Because that's what the producers are telling him.
Right.
But she's refusing to drink it with him, and every other girl is drowning in Kool-Aid. So it's kind of weird to see this whole dynamic.
I don't believe it when he says it, though. He's
I
like,
know, he doesn't either.
It works. I just don't believe it when he's saying it.
Yeah.
I also just have to shout out Kelly because I feel like she had the line of the night where she when she directly called him out for rewarding the drama.
Yeah.
Yep.
That one really hit a chord with me.
100%.
Because Peter, literally, he was like when she was talking, he took a step back. Like he had to gather himself a little bit before
knew.
he replied.
You know.
Yeah, man.
that.
Anything else on Kelly and Peter before we move on?
Kelly.
She really wasn't a standout for me, and she shot to the forefront for me.
Yeah.
I'm glad she got a rose. I'm glad there's some
Yeah.
sanity left in here. I love the drama, but
Yeah. She's
like
one
her.
of the few level-headed.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about this group date.
Sure.
Fashion show for Cosmopolitan.
Big time.
This was kind of fun, right?
Sure.
It was, at least they weren't like beating each other up.
Another modeling date.
Another modeling date.
modeling.
America's Next Top Model.
I don't
Low-key.
know.
Wow.
Who was the best? Who stood
Costa
out to you
Rican's Next
guys
Top
in
Model.
terms of their modeling skills?
Nope, I don't know. I mean, they were just the girl that won was the girl that made out with him.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's true.
It
One of the
just
girls
I
that
didn't
made out
see
with
any one of them. I mean, so I guess all you had to do was suck face with Peter, and you won the competition.
I'm gonna give it to Lexi and Tammy. No, it was Lexi and Natasha. 'Cause
Natasha.
They had a fire pic that's
Yeah, they did.
circulating on Twitter. I was like, if anything, you got that out of this group date.
So true.
I feel like we didn't see a lot of modeling.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
all that it was, and that was the competition, we didn't see a lot.
It's true.
Yeah.
They all took a picture.
I know.
And some of them had Peter in it.
Yeah, the catwalk when we saw everybody go down.
Yeah.
The catwalk.
I gotta say, Hannah Ann must be crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be tough because the truth is she does have a real modeling career.
Sure.
You know, her portfolio has things like Sonic and like Amazon. To think that she was this close to adding the cover of Cosmo to her portfolio,
Right.
Right?
that'd be tough. She actually handled it pretty well, considering how crushed she must have been.
Yeah.
Because she knows
100%.
there's like a Sugar Bear Hair endorsement on the way, and she's not trying to mess up her bag. So
I
it's
know.
just like,
Not only a Sugar Bear Hair endorsement, like a real modeling career. Like
That
if you
too.
walk into
Absolutely.
an agency and you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, like I've had some pretty good campaigns. Like I was on the cover of Cosmo.
Right.
That's a career game changer for her, and
That's true.
that kind of sucks.
But to be fair, in as much as that is sad, she's probably going to be fine.
Yeah, she'll be
Here's my
fine.
portfolio, and I was a major contestant on The Bachelor. It's
Yeah.
probably enough if you want to talk agencies and stuff
plus,
like that.
isn't she
Yeah.
here for Peter? Guys?
That's right. That's right.
When I was
Cover
on
of Cosmo's the wrong reason.
Right?
Wrong reason.
Come on.
When I was on Big Brother, I never got to host a competition, and that pissed me off. So I feel for her.
Oh yeah.
I was so
justice
pissed.
for Rachel.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
We
The
could
week-
set something up in the
The
backyard.
week I got evicted, I was supposed to host that competition, but
Yeah.
I got nominated instead. So
Yeah.
I feel for you, Hannah. And
Look at you now, Rach.
But look at me now.
Yes.
All right. Victoria F, do we feel like she deserved the win? I guess we talked about it. All she did was
They
make
were
out.
matching.
Yeah.
They made out.
I don't know. She had the skimpiest bathing suit on.
That's true. She did look good.
I wanted to see somebody
well,
whip
yeah.
their hair and
Yeah.
gyrate and do some stuff.
Shakira
Like, whatever.
style.
Let's
Fall
go.
into the water.
I wanted to hear.
Don't you think? To me, Victoria F and Sydney is the same thing. They're gorgeous, and I think he's just lustful for them.
Yeah.
I don't think they could do barely anything wrong in his eyes, at least right now.
It's a good point. I mean,
And he has chemistry with both of them. Like,
Yeah,
a
I
lot
mean,
of physical chemistry.
Yeah.
it's funny. He keeps talking about how much he wants to find a wife, but his process is more to find a sexy arm candy. Like, I don't think.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I've been married for a couple of years, but there's so much more to marriage than like you're hot and you're a good
Right.
kisser. And he like was afraid of what Kelly was saying because I think he had the realization like, oh shoot, like she's actually wife material,
Right.
but I'm falling for these sugar bear hair girls. Like,
Because he's saying it so hard. Like when he was talking to Kelly, he was saying so hard, like wifing it, like this is serious. And she said something about wanting to kind of have fun with Peter, and he's like, yeah, it can be fun, but this is serious. Well, that kind of flies directly opposite of what it seems like he's doing with other girls.
Yeah, he was just like gaslighting her to like confess her feelings for him, and it was just like,
Not-
dude,
she wasn't
let
having
it
it.
happen naturally. And again, to this point, like this is not the same Peter I think from episode 1 who was like marveling after his parents' long-lasting relationship and wanting that love. It's like,
Yeah.
again, I don't think that's what you really want. It
Right.
doesn't look like what your parents have.
Yeah.
Not even close.
well, I think it's time for us to move on to this Kelsey drama.
Do you want?
Good. Hop in here, Mike.
I was just because everybody's talking about it in the chat, I figured we might address it. And the latest I see is our friend Shanice, sweet smile, great to see you. Cosmo wouldn't wait to let us know that they were not going to feature
I know.
Victoria F in their magazine.
We're gonna get into that. There was a
We're
tweet
gonna
that was
that's
dropped.
the
this
I just
episode.
want to address it because everybody was talking about. We are going to talk about it later,
Absolutely,
guys. So,
Yes.
yeah.
And Mike, thanks for bringing up the chat. In case you guys didn't know, if you're listening on the podcast right now, we do go live right after the show, be that 7 p.m. Pacific or midnight, depending on how long they choose to air the episode. But make sure you tune in on our AfterBuzz TV channel and check out some of our other shows. We cover everything on TV. Yeah. If you're like us and you like a show like The Bachelor, but you also love, like Better Call Saul, we cover like all kinds of television on our network. So check out all of AfterBuzz TV stuff. We have a podcast for everything. And we love you guys. It means a lot that you're tuned in. You get it. You get The Bachelor just like we do. Okay.
As confusing as it is.
I know.
Yeah.
Christine, can you help me unpack Kelsey. Are you a fan? Are you not a fan? Who is this girl? Are we Team Kelsey? Are we not Team Kelsey? Thoughts?
I am Team Kelsey when she's with Peter because that seems to be a different individual than what we see in the house.
Yeah.
Which is a little frustrating as a viewer because, again, these edits are not black and white. It's intentionally messy. And Kelsey is someone who went from arguably a train wreck first few episodes to giving us like a really shining, good moment during her one-on-one with Peter, kind of handling this Allayah situation maturely, and then again taking another nosedive in this situation. Now, again, it's hard because at certain points she definitely came across likable. Again, like when she's with Peter and explaining herself, I definitely understood where she was coming from at different points in this episode, wanting to defend herself because Peter is so easily swayed by what other people say. But I don't know. I feel like she got a raw deal in some ways, and in some ways I was like kind of confused by her.
Yeah. Rach, what do you think?
Sorry, I was long-winded.
It's hard. It's hard to grab your thoughts.
I was, I definitely have not been Team Kelsey, but like you said, this episode, I was Team Kelsey again when she's with Peter, because when we see her in the house, we're just like, oh, this girl is. I didn't like some of the things she was saying when Sydney was on the solo date. I didn't like some of the things she was saying then.
You're right.
Yes.
Because she was getting a little bit mean girl there. But by the end of it, she spoke her truth when it came to Tammy. Tammy's a whole different story. I have a lot of opinions on Tammy now. I wrote on my thing here, I said, Tammy, my girl. And then like later on I said, no, Tammy, are you a therapist? Wither away at your bottle of wine. So I just, anyways, Team Kelsey right now. But yeah, Tammy. Anyways.
Yeah.
Man, she's just been a roller coaster. I think I would be much more Team Kelsey if everything with the champagne didn't happen. That kind of soured me to her right off the bat. And I understood what a lot of the girls like Tammy and people were saying about her crying all the time and it getting kind of like enough. But man, did that graph just crisscross. And I wanted to say, I wanted to be on one solid team and have it be obvious. But it's like, Tammy, what are you doing that? Like, this is way out of line. And then Kelsey seems good, but then I don't know. It's confused. Keep unpacking, but
to you?
I don't know what I feel.
Yeah,
Here's how I feel. When something is true, but you hear someone else say it to them, and you're like, don't say that about that person.
Yeah.
So, like, Kelsey may have a drinking problem. Like,
Oh my God.
clearly, she's at her worst when she's a little drunk, and we can see when she's lit. Like, she's
she's slurring around a little.
Granted, all of us sometimes drink too much. I don't know if she has a drinking problem, but we don't see the best version of Kelsey when she's drinking.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not sure she's the most emotionally stable person ever. Like, but it's that thing where like, when you're like, I can talk about my mom that way, but you can't talk about. That's how I feel about Kelsey. Where I'm like, sure, maybe all the things you're saying are true, but like, first of all, it's not really your place to say that on a dating show. Maybe it's not your place to say that on an after show either. But I love you, Kelsey. I don't know. That's our job right now, is to commentate and analyze this.
The drinking problem thing gets way overblown.
It does.
mean, these girls are at the house or hotel by themselves for some time. For some, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, like 2 days at some point or 3 without even seeing him. What are you gonna do?
And they
don't have
drink a
their
lot.
phones or they're not
drink a
watching
lot.
TV or so they drink a little too much.
And raise your hand if you've never had a bit too much to drink and said things you regret. Exactly. In case you listen to the podcast, none of us are raising our hand.
And I get especially emotional when I drink.
I do too.
I'm
I
not gonna
related to
lie.
that.
Yeah, same girl.
I felt like I was getting called the F out.
I know.
I was like, personally attacked during that. I was like, oh my God, I'm Kelsey
And to
sometimes.
her credit, she owned up. She was like, I had too much to drink and I was emotional. Like, she pretty reasonably owned up to everything she was accused of.
Yeah, and I don't think it warranted her being called like a flat out alcoholic because
No.
that indicates
pill
a
popper.
a long history of behavior, and being called a pill popper, that was OD. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just to complete the circle of confusion, Amaya Baker is calling me out and saying Hannah Ann and Kelsey are friends now, so get over Champagne Gate.
Great point.
Figure that one
More
out
minds.
too. Yeah.
And that
yeah.
actually makes Kelsey kind of a complicated character, right? Because
Extremely.
to speak to maybe the drinking thing, she doesn't get along with Hannah Ann maybe when she's lit. But she also seems like the kind of person who, when she comes back down to earth, she can be reasonable. I mean, I actually admired the fact that her and Hannah Ann were having it out.
Yeah.
You know what?
That's not-
It shows
I mean, it took
that
a while to get there.
Yeah.
Because remember, Champagne Gate continued into 2 episodes where they were crying about it.
Yeah.
But like your point, she did eventually reason with her.
Yeah, she got to the point of reasonability. Kelsey's a complicated one. And what's interesting, she's one of the older ones. Older being like what, late 20s.
She's 28.
And so is Kelly, right?
Yeah, Kelly's a little
In
bit older,
some
I
ways, they kind of represent two sides of a coin. Where like they're both older girls, and I think Peter's probably attracted to that because he's in his late 20s. But he loves that Kelsey cries in his arms versus Kelly, who calls him out. He wants a girl that cries in his arms and needs him.
Oh, yeah.
Which maybe that means they're a good fit. Like, I actually kind of see Kelsey and Peter in terms of their dynamic working.
Well, she clearly hit all the right notes this episode because it was her move of going to explain herself to him that kind of set off this chain of events towards the end of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, she's being the most aggressive in my opinion, but in the best way because he is eating everything she is giving him. She has him in the palm of his hand right now. So
I love the aggressiveness. I mean, we all know that I love the aggressiveness. So I love her going over there. I love the other girls get upset and it's like, well, you should have thought of it first. I love at the rose ceremony where he decides to cancel the cocktail party. I love that the two girls go after him anyway and get their time in. I love it. Be aggressive. And everybody else get mad because you didn't do it. That's the whole point of what I've always said when we talk about this show and the after show. If you're actually there for the right reasons, you don't care what the other girls think.
Yeah.
You got to go talk to Peter. You got to just be connecting with Peter. Who cares about the rest of them? They don't like you because you took the initiative. So what?
I mean, if there was any time to do a Hail Mary, it's right before you get eliminated.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And Tammy is in the lowest low, right?
Yeah.
And it's like everybody's against her. Her going to talk to Peter, what harm is it going to do? Nothing.
Well, let's talk about Tammy.
Yeah.
Wow. We got a full 180 with her. And
Yeah.
you know what? Props to the editors because the way they cut the promos together, we all thought they were yelling at Kelsey.
Yeah.
And then when we saw that it was Tammy who was on the dais.
That's right.
That was fascinating. I personally think Tammy deserved to get called out like that.
yes, 100%.
And she did not do a good job defending herself.
No.
She was straight up called out, and she was like, well, I didn't say she was an alcoholic, but I did think it was important for me to point out that she has alcoholic tendencies.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Don't tell.
No.
And she was like, I had to tell Peter about that, but you can't tell Pete. She was just full of contradictions.
She was.
It looked bad.
No,
I think
that-
she's...
it's not-
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying it's like that's not her place
No.
to do that. It's
Not at
not
all.
your place, especially something as serious as that.
Yeah.
That's not your place.
It's a huge accusation.
I think the whole thing for her started in the right place this episode. I think she was being a decent person and
too.
listening to Kelsey, like listening to her out because I think a lot of the other girls are probably tired of the crying and don't even want to deal with her anymore. And she got really upset when she found out that Kelsey said people were fake. And she's like, I'm not fake. Okay. And then she flipped and went into attack mode, which is the wrong reaction to have.
Yeah, but why wouldn't she confirm that though before she went off and spiraled like that? Like, or just don't get involved in the drama. We see where that leads.
Absolutely.
At
don't
that
get
point,
involved.
yeah, I think she should have taken the fake comment straight to Kelsey and been like, girl, I was literally the only one who was wiping your tears. You want to go ahead and call me fake? Fine, game on.
Yeah.
Then I would have been like, all right, you know what? I get it. It's the trajectory between finding that out and everything that happened afterwards just made her look so bad.
Made her look really bad, especially because she kept calling Kelsey out for not handling Peter the right way when she went straight to Peter and made these huge accusations about Kelsey.
She did nothing to strengthen her connection with him.
No.
Does
she
he know
wasted her
anything
time.
more about
Yep.
you? No.
And her logic was, I was having trouble focusing on our relationship because of my concern for Kelsey.
Yeah,
You
girl.
don't
Girl.
seem
Straight up
concerned.
lie.
You do not seem concerned for her. You seem mean.
So here's the question.
Probably didn't have nothing else of substance to bring.
Yeah.
Peter sent home Shiann and Lexi, who, in all fairness, haven't gotten a ton of camera time. They haven't gotten a lot of edit. What's the reasoning? Do you think he really sees something with Tammy? Because it was pretty all negative, and even just the stuff that she went and told him basically said, I didn't really kind of say that. It doesn't seem like a huge connection. Is it just she's the best of the worst three?
I think the producers were like, you need to keep Tammy because we need next episode to be lit.
I
Okay?
think that's right.
Also, you gotta keep
That's
Tammy if
fair.
you kept Allayah for that long off
Yeah.
of some she said, she said. You know
It's
what I mean?
because they're putting Kelsey and Tammy on a 2-on-1.
Of course. Give us the 2-and-1.
They've already
Let's
scheduled.
go.
They're like, unfortunately, we already made the dinner reservation for your
Right,
2-on-1, so
They have the name card printed already
you do
for
have
Tammy?
to keep Tammy.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, fascinating TV.
The chat seems to agree that
That would
producers
be-
had the call there.
But I can't wait to see it.
Yep.
It's gonna be great. Mike Henna calling that extra time. smart move, right?
Yeah, 100%. Get your man, girl.
Yeah.
Get it.
Yeah,
Shout out
but-
to my Kenna's
You might be crying way too much this episode, but you better get that time.
McKenna is another one to me. I know we're running out of time. She, to me, is crying too much.
Yeah.
I think she's in a good spot, and she's really has a lot of self-doubt. I don't think there's anything wrong with their connection. She has missed out on a bunch of one-on-one time and like cocktails and group date shenanigans and stuff like that. But I think she's in a way better spot than she thinks.
Yeah.
But I think the house is getting to her.
Sure.
I think
Yeah.
she's very clearly spiraling.
She's young.
Yeah, she is young.
All right, let's go ahead and get into our news quickly.
Yes.
Yes, guys.
Crazy stuff.
So, as we mentioned earlier, during the broadcast tonight, the editor-in-chief of Cosmopolitan decided to drop a bombshell on Bachelor Nation and let us know that the magazine will not be publishing the cover shoot featuring Peter and Victoria F from their group date today. They put out an official statement basically saying that because Victoria F was tied to White Lives Matter attire campaign, they don't want to be connected to her. We're putting the images up right now if you guys are watching on YouTube. She's very clearly wearing a hat that says White Lives Matter. And the company that she modeled for also has models up with Confederate flags and t-shirts. So in their statement, Cosmo said, unequivocally, the White Lives Matter movement does not reflect the values of the Cosmo brand. We stand in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement and any cause that fights to end injustices for people of color. Now, they did clarify that they already printed the March fashion issue that the photo is featured on. So that is still going to hit newsstands. But
So they did none of the research that all of Bachelor Nation did in about 30 seconds.
No.
Just saying.
But they said ultimately what felt right was choosing not to publish the digital cover on our website or social feeds and simply being honest with you, the audience we respect, about what we happened and where we stand.
Have you seen, in Mean Girls, that moment when he's like, we're canceling prom, and like, we already paid for the DJ. He's like, this is exactly it. We're canceling the issue. We already printed the March issue.
Right.
We're canceling the digital version of the issue.
Yes.
So funny. And there's more news, right? There was one more, something else.
So
right?
yes, Twitter, obviously you guys are so great at sleuthing out all this good
Yeah.
info.
Yes, we love you, Bachelor Nation.
There was a screenshot going around that we also pulled up for you guys of somebody who either went to high school with Sydney, who pulled out the receipts of her being voted like top beauty queen and pageant, like super popular in her high school. So that whole bit about her being bullied and eating in the bathroom every day by herself kind of seems like BS at this point.
Yeah. And there was another tweet that had in a yearbook Hannah Brown and her in the same.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it had them, and I know I saw that and I was going to send it in, but I didn't send that one in. But they went to the same high school, and it was like they were like the Bachelor producers work hard, but I work harder.
snap.
It was a girl that went to high school with both of them.
Let's go.
Well, here's what I'll say. We got to get out of here, but I'll do a little more elaboration on all this news that just dropped tonight on my daily segment. Tomorrow on our sister channel, Reality, I do
Nice.
daily news coverage for The Bachelor, and I think tomorrow there's going to be a lot to unpack. So
I'm sure there'll be more developments.
man.
Victoria's got to respond. We got to hear more about this.
I'm already
So tune
exhausted.
in.
Okay, we won't have any time for predictions this week, but
What are we going to predict over 2 days? It's
I
all going
know.
to happen on Wednesday
there's
anyway.
another episode Wednesday. We just found this out tonight, so we're not exactly sure how we're going to cover it. We're either going to lump it into next week, or we may try to get something going, but that's why you should subscribe to this channel, because if we go live, you'll see it. We'll post a live event that morning. So, and the podcast. Subscribe to the podcast as well. Okay, I think we did it. Let's get out of here. Quickly, guys, my name is Jeff Graham. I'm wearing a shirt that says Horribly Hollywood Single. It's another show I produce on this channel. Check it out.
But you're married.
Damn.
Oh, it's not for me. I'm just producing it. It's a great show.
The shirt's for me. I'll just go ahead and sign off too. You guys can find me on Twitter at Christine Bean with 3 E's and on Instagram at Christine I Alexis.
And you can find me on Instagram at Rachel Swindler or on Twitter at Rachie Swin.
Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us in the chat. So many of you, Shanice Sweet Smile, Jade Jobs, Michelle Carter, Julie Telkin, Amaya Baker, Iron Knight, Terrence Matthews. We love you all. Thank you so much. My name is Mike Thieling. You can find me everywhere at Mike Thieling.
We'll see you guys soon.
Woo!
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.